a magia do futebol. Somos diferentes, mas torcer nos faz parecidos. Não importa se você assiste com a camisa da sorte, no bar com amigos ou em casa na poltrona.
Preparou, vai bater, pegou!
Se você é o que grita mais alto, o que só comemora depois do replay, cada um torce do seu jeito. Coca-Cola, torcer é pra todos.
Meu nome é Cairo Santos e eu sou o kicker e único brasileiro jogando na NFL. Cada chute, cada jarda conquistada, cada passo me levou para mais perto dos meus sonhos. Agora, a cada R$200 em compras com seu Visa cadastrado, você tem a chance de ficar mais perto do sonho de assistir ao Super Bowl 59. E usando o seu cartão de débito, você ainda concorre a prêmios diários de até R$1.000. Não importa o tamanho do seu sonho, dê o primeiro passo. Visa, apoiando seus passos aonde você quiser chegar.
O podcast parou, mas é bem rapidinho, tá? É só pra avisar que o mês Sticks tá chegando ao fim aqui no Pão de Açúcar. Essa é a chance perfeita de trocar seus pontos Sticks por refratários e talheres exclusivos com até 50% off. São vários modelos incríveis, um pra cada receita especial com gostinho de felicidade. Corre lá no app do Pão pra garantir o seu favorito. Pão de Açúcar, você feliz é tudo de pão.
Desde 2019, a Toyota vem acelerando o futuro, produzindo no Brasil o primeiro híbrido flex do mundo. De lá pra cá, as coisas mudaram. Muitos entraram na tendência que a gente criou. Mas sabe o que não mudou? A confiança do brasileiro na Toyota, que não veio da noite pro dia. Toyota, no futuro há muito tempo. Paz no trânsito começa por você.
Welcome back to Rams Up, your favorite LA Rams podcast. We are part of the Fans First Sports Network. You can follow us on our YouTube channel as well, at LA Rams Up. I'm your host, Mark. I'll be joined occasionally by my football gurus, Paul and Ian. Let's get to it. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Mark from Rams Up here, episode 538. I'm going to get to my power rankings here, my week 4 power rankings, after we get through some notes already shared on the YouTube channel. So check it out there if you want. The visuals, the graphics I think are a little bit better than what you're going to hear on the podcast, obviously. And when you get to that YouTube channel, please subscribe and like those videos and comment at will. It's a lot of fun getting the comments going lately. That's what we want to see. First thing I wanted to note is Jared Verse, currently the odds-on favorite to win Defensive Rookie of the Year. It's early, but still a good sign. Byron Murphy is also up there. Jared Verse getting Rookie of the Year, Defensive Rookie of the Year, might make up at least a little bit for the Kobe Turner travesty last year, wouldn't it? So Verse, if he keeps playing like this and actually closes the deal on more sacks, really good chance of winning that award. Hey, here's a thought. Jumping on an article from SB Nation. I think they're right. What do the Rams do when Steve Avila comes back the way Bo Limmer has played? Does Avila have a job, or does Jonah Jackson have a job? I don't see them sitting down Bo Limmer. I just don't. It's going to be a really good problem to have, but not sure what the Rams are going to do. If everybody stays healthy, knocking on wood here, Steve Avila comes back, really good problem to have on the interior. And speaking of the interior center specifically, Rams are going to run into an old friend in Chicago, Coleman Shelton, as their starting center. And Coleman Shelton and that entire offensive line has really struggled protecting the quarterback. So kind of ties into Jared Verse and his quest for Defensive Rookie of the Year. This would be a great game for this pass rush to finally bust through. This pass rush, by the way, the Rams have 4 sacks. Byron Young has 2, Jared Verse and Kobe Turner the others. We'll go through some other stats here just for fun before we get to our power rankings. Matthew Stafford, 5th in passing yards in the league, 754. Now, I don't really get excited about that kind of stat, especially passing stats, because it's sometimes an indication of a team that's struggling. But when you consider what has happened to the Rams receiving core, still pretty impressive. Quentin Lake tied for 8th in the league in tackles, 31, and everyone ahead of him except one player is a linebacker. So Quentin Lake having a very impactful year. As far as the Rams go, Troy Reeder is second with 26 tackles. Kyron Williams tied for first with 5 TDs, along with Alvin Kamara and Saquon Barkley. And by the way, only 3 Rams have scored points this year. Cooper Kupp, Kyron Williams, and Joshua Carty. Jordan Whittington had one called back worth mentioning. Hey, we have all been a little ecstatic about the improved play of our special teams. We would take average, and that's what we're getting, and I'm happy with that. Ethan Evans actually having a decent year, averaging 48.3 yards per punt. He's 10th in the league. I should say the Rams coverage unit is 10th in the league, 42.6 net. Evans has 4 punts inside the 20, no touchbacks, and teams are averaging 9.5 yards on returns. Not great, not bad either, though. Joshua Carty, one of 13 kickers in the league who has not missed a field goal. He's also perfect on extra points. I'm knocking on wood again here. Cooper Kupp remains the Rams' leading receiver, 147 yards, followed by Tutu Atwell, 141 yards. Tutu is averaging over 20 yards per catch. So there's some random stats for you. Thought it'd be nice to share at this point in the season. Let's move on to our power rankings as shared on the YouTube channel last night. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Time for my Week 4 power rankings from Rams Up. How do these NFL teams stack up heading into Week 4? And you know what? It's getting crazy. I think some of these teams have moved around so much, some real surprises and some real disappointments. And just a reminder, this is my approach to power rankings. I kind of split the difference. I split the difference between the teams that deserve it, have proven it at this point after just 3 games, and then the teams that we kind of know are going to be there in the end. They're going to have a resurgence, get healthy, that type of thing. And I'm not necessarily talking about our Rams. I'll mention them here in a minute. But, teams like the 49ers, 1 and 2, I'm not dropping them all the way out. If you just go by standings and performances, maybe you would. But we know they're going to be back. And a couple other teams, I think, fit that bill as well. I'm going to do it a little bit differently this week. I am going to start from the bottom and go up to number 1. Different from what I've done recently, and I think it's a good week to do that because things have changed up quite a bit, and it might be just more interesting to do it this way. And the first thing I'm going to do is talk about my green room. What teams are on the outside looking in, and there's quite a few actually. If you consider the Cowboys and the Dolphins. The Cowboys have been a disappointment, but we know they're a really good team. They're going to go on a roll. The Dolphins, they got to figure out the quarterback situation. So I dropped them out of the top 12 until they figure that out. I'm not sure they're going to have a resurgence if they don't make a change or if Tua does not come back. Who else? The Jets and the Bucks. The Bucks had a really disappointing performance there, to say the least, against the Broncos. And the Chargers, if Justin Herbert finishes that game, they might have won that and stayed undefeated. Don't know what's going on with him. They're right there on the cusp, probably be, ranked 14th or 15th if I went that deep. The Cardinals, up and down team. They're a little bit still a little bit of a scary team in my opinion. And they're going to be a fun team to watch moving forward. The Bengals and the Browns, disappointing recently. The Falcons, they're going to make a run just because of their schedule. We've talked about that. Not sure how good they are. And what about the Washington Commanders? Probably an overreaction, but could the Washington Commanders possibly win the NFC East? That's all I'm going to say about that. And I didn't mention the Rams, and, they don't deserve to be in the top 12, not after that drubbing they received from the Cardinals. But let me say this, if they can get to 2-2, even 2-3, and start to get healthy, start to get some guys back, this is a team you don't want to play. You're not going to want to play. It could be a very dangerous team. That's why that win over the 49ers was so big. So let's get into the top 12, starting with number 12. And, I saw people putting the Steelers up there, number 2 or 3. Hey, I get it. They're 3-0. Who have they beaten? They beat the Broncos, the Falcons, and the Chargers. Defense has been incredible. I'll give you that. Justin Fields coming through. But I'm still not that impressed. I need to see more. They are in my top 12. I wouldn't put them above any of these other teams. Well, maybe I'd put them above my number 11 team because I kind of feel the same way. The Seattle Seahawks, another 3-0 team. They have also beat the Broncos and who else? The Patriots. And then they get the Dolphins without Tua. How fortunate was that for the Seahawks? So they're 3-0. Defense is much improved. And Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, Zach Charbonnet starting to get rolling. Haven't heard much from Kenneth Walker. I think they're a vulnerable 3-0 team. Let me put it that way. They still have 6 games within this division, and it may not go well for them. I have a feeling.
Tá a fim de ver os grandes craques do futebol europeu? Tá com aquela vontade de ver um golaço? Um clássico do futebol inglês ou El Clássico espanhol? A gente tá contigo e com o Vini Júnior, o Haaland, o Mbappé e muito mais. O Disney Plus tá com tudo e o melhor futebol do mundo tá no Disney Plus. Assista futebol europeu ao vivo no Disney Plus.
Desfrute do novo Icon of the Seas da Royal Caribbean, agora partindo de Miami. É o ícone das férias repleto de atrações, com o maior parque aquático no mar e espetáculos sensacionais da Broadway. Com destinos incríveis no Caribe, incluindo a premiada ilha particular Perfect Day at Coco Cay, a aventura nunca acaba. Icon of the Seas, as melhores férias em família do mundo. Acesse royalcaribbean.com/BRA. Aplicam-se termos e condições.
The Seahawks and the Steelers, by the way, are new to my top 12. My number 10 team, the Saints, take a little bit of a tumble, drop 3 spots from 7 to 10. Man, they gave that game away. Gave that game away to the Eagles. Oh man, I was watching the end of that. Couldn't believe what I was seeing. Man, you talk about painful losses. That's got to be up there. Similar to what happened to the Eagles the previous week. This time it was the Eagles stealing a win at the end. We'll talk about the Eagles in a second. My number 9 team, another team that dropped 3 spots, the Texans, from number 6 to number 9. I just didn't see that happening to the Texans, getting manhandled, really rolled by the Vikings. How good are the Vikings? They got to start giving them credit. They are winning, and they are winning in impressive fashion as opposed to how a team like the Steelers is getting it done. So the Texans take a drubbing there. Hey, you know what? And you got to remember, you got to give some of these teams a pass. You're going to have a bad outing. Every team has it. If you see 2 in a row or 2 out of 4 games where they play really poorly, then that's a red flag. But going to give the Texans a little bit of a pass, just like I gave the Ravens a little bit of a pass with that loss to the Raiders. So Texans at number 9. The biggest dropper of the week is the 49ers, dropping from 2 to number 8, 2 straight losses. They're going to be back. A lot of people would maybe drop them out of the top 10. I'm not doing that. Still an extremely talented team. I'm more worried about their defense than anything, right? Not a good look the last couple weeks, for sure. Okay, who do I have at number 7? Hey, you got to give the Green Bay Packers credit. They lose Jordan Love at the end of that game in Brazil, a game they lost to the Eagles. They come home, come back to the U.S., insert Malik Willis as their starter, and they run off 2 straight wins. So you got to give them credit. And this is a team that drafts really well, well coached, great front office. They play the run great on defense, got a pretty solid offensive line, just a really well-rounded team, makes them difficult to beat. And at 2-1, yeah, Packers are my number 7 team. And at number 6, jumping up a couple spots, the Detroit Lions. Actually, I had them down at number 10 last week after that loss to the Bucs. So they beat the Rams at home, and then they lost to the Bucs, and then they take care of the Cardinals. Impressive win at Arizona. And they got lucky on that one play, the 2-minute warning play. I don't know if you saw that, where it was a pick six, and they said that the play didn't count because the 2-minute warning had arrived. Cardinal fans weren't very happy about that, but Lions winning in different ways, as Dan Campbell says, and still have my concerns about them long term, but you got to give them credit. It's just kind of interesting that the Rams were able to take them into overtime, and then as banged up as they were, and then the Bucs take care of them at home. So a couple of red flags there for the Lions, but they're 2-1. Give them credit. And my number 5 team, the Philadelphia Eagles. What can we say about the Eagles? Man, an interesting season already. They go to Brazil and they win that game against the Packers. And then they go home and they just threw that game away to the Falcons. Hey, Falcons earned it at the end there, but that was a game the Eagles thought they had it sewed up and just giving up chunks of yardage on that last drive, and the Falcons score. Then they go to New Orleans to play the 2-0 Saints, and they kind of flipped it. They were the ones that put together the long drive at the end and just rolled that Saints defense. That one play, DBs running into each other trying to cover the tight end, and Eagles pulled it off, and they are 2-1. And after from 5 on down, I think all of these teams I have concerns about, including the Eagles. The way they closed out last year, it was horrible. And they're a really good football team, but I'm just not sure. I was all in on them earlier in the year. I picked them to win the NFC East, just starting to have my doubts, giving away games, and then luckily winning a game against the Saints. So we'll see how it goes with the Eagles. There are a lot of close games. An exciting team, that's for sure. Heart attack city in Philadelphia is what I'm guessing. But Eagles are my number 5 team. And number 4, the biggest riser, I think, the Vikings, the 3-0 Minnesota Vikings. And let's see, they beat the Giants, the 49ers, and the Texans. So they've beat 2 really good football teams and the Giants. Sorry, Giants fans. And now they got the big showdown with the Packers, our number 7 team, number 4 and number 7. And you probably know this is kind of like the Rams-Niners, Vikings-Packers. They do not like each other. The fan bases don't like each other. A lot at stake here. Vikings, man, very good football team. And at first I thought, that win over the 49ers, kind of thought it might have been a little bit of a fluke, but Sam Darnold, Justin Jefferson getting it done. And let's see, what else do we got? Number 3, and yes, I have a 1-2 team ahead of a couple of 3-0 teams. I still have the Baltimore Ravens at number 3, 1-2, giving them a little bit of a pass. That loss at home to the Raiders just made no sense. And then they, of course, they lost the opener at Kansas City. Can kind of understand that. And Derrick Henry and the Ravens romp over the Cowboys. What do we say about the Cowboys? What do we say about the Ravens? Your guess is as good as mine, but I still think this is where, when I talked at the beginning about splitting the difference, a team that's maybe struggled in the early going, the Ravens are still a top 5 team, and they're going to end up in the top 5 one way or another, and I'm not bumping them too far down. I got them at number 3. And my number 2 ranked team, an undefeated team that's been a little unimpressive, the Chiefs, 3-0. They've beaten the Ravens, Bengals, and Falcons. They've won by a total of 13 points. Travis Kelce, first game, 3 catches for 34 yards. came back with 1 catch for 5 and then 4 catches for 30 yards. And Mahomes, even he has said, not playing well. And I heard one commentator on the radio, it was on Colin Cowherd's show, his sidekick, I forget his name. I think there may be some truth to this. Maybe the Chiefs, their stars, they're just get kind of bored. They know they're going to be in the playoffs. Let's just get this regular season over with. Let's cruise. Oh, geez, we better actually win this game in the end here. But maybe not as motivated. I don't know if you call that a Super Bowl hangover, but a team that has had so much success and more successful they play their best football in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. And weeks 1, 2, and 3, whatever. They're okay. They're 3-0. In my number 1 team, and this is the one team I probably was wrong, more wrong than any other team in the league. I talked about before the season how the Buffalo Bills have Josh Allen and not much else. Well, it turns out got a pretty good defense, got a good offensive line. And, Josh Allen made an interesting comment how this team not having to worry about stats anymore. I think he was kind of taking a shot at Stephon Diggs, or at least celebrating in a way the fact that Stephon Diggs is not on this team anymore, and he doesn't have to try to get him the ball. He's got different receivers, different contributors, and he can just take the play that's there and not worry about getting the ball to his number 1 receiver. Josh Allen looks like he's having a lot of fun, and this Bills team, man, they've beat they had a tougher game than you thought they would against the Cardinals. There was a few moments there where you thought that game was going to get away from them. They come back and beat the Dolphins and hammer the Jags. Is it Panic City in Jacksonville because of that loss? Well, let's see how the Bills do moving forward, because the Jags may have just run into a buzzsaw at the wrong time. But the Bills, definitely, without a doubt, the best team in the NFL right now, and trying to take control of that AFC East. So there you have it, my 1 through 12 Week 4 power rankings. And you know what? If our Rams can pull off an upset, I guess it's an upset, that point spread against the Bears, Rams are now +3. Started out as Bears -1, 1.5, 2, now up to 3 points. I have a feeling it might come back the other way. So technically, if the Rams pull off a road upset and a couple other things happen, they could find themselves back in this top 12. I'm not convinced they're going to win this game, but I got a pretty good feeling. The concern about the Rams is a big emotional win, and sometimes teams don't bounce back's probably the wrong way of putting it. They don't follow up with a really good effort, and I think what's working in the Rams' favor here is the coaching staff and the culture they have. They know what's at stake here. They're going to show up and play. It's just a matter of hey, can one of these Bears receivers not go off for 3 touchdowns? Can we finish the deal on the pass rushes and put Caleb Williams on the ground? Don't let him escape for 15, 20-yard runs. If we can do a few of those things, the Rams will be okay. This defensive line, the edge rushers are coming on strong, and I have a good feeling about this game. We'll talk more about it in my Rams preview and the roundtable, Wednesday night roundtable with Ian and Paul. That's it out here from Rams Up. That's going to do it for this episode. Remember, you can reach us at ramsuppodcast@gmail.com. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Our handle is at laramsup.com. Till next time, keep the horns up, stay safe, and have fun out there.